Caitlin Clark showed up to an LPGA prom and turned what's usually a quiet charity event into a headline-grabbing, crowd-pulling spectacle. Teeing off alongside Nelly Korda, she became the centerpiece of the tournament. Clips went viral, crowds packed in, and the LPGA made sure the cameras never left her. It was a masterclass in promotion, with golf's leadership recognizing her crossover appeal and leaning all the way in.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
Meanwhile, the WNBA, the league she represents, barely flinched. No highlights, no graphics, no acknowledgement. The silence was as loud as the cheers Clark got on the fairway, and fans noticed. That contrast speaks volumes about how women's sports leagues either embrace or waste their biggest stars. The LPGA's celebratory approach amplified Clark's reach and expanded their audience. The WNBA's cautious response left opportunity on the table. Instead of viewing Clark's popularity as a threat to tradition, the LPGA saw it as a gateway to new fans, and it paid off in metrics and momentum. Her impact goes beyond the court or the course. It's reshaping what modern athlete marketing looks like. Caitlin Clark, the most talked-about name in women's basketball, just helped break viewership records, and it wasn't even on the court. She showed up at an LPGA Pro-Am golf event, a charity game no less, and ended up becoming the main attraction. The LPGA didn't just let her swing a few clubs and smile for the cameras. They built the entire event around her. Her name was front and center. Promo videos, social clips, graphics, coverage. They milked the moment, and it worked. People tuned in like never before. A casual charity golf event suddenly had the energy of a sold-out finals game. And all because Caitlin Clark decided to step into a different sport for a moment. And then came the twist. Instead of celebrating the exposure, the viral moments, the headlines, and the massive boost of women's sports visibility, the WNBA issued her a warning. Yes, a warning for playing golf. It's the kind of decision that makes you stop and go, are we seriously doing this right now? Because while the LPGA was out here throwing a party and turning Caitlin into a crossover queen, the WNBA, stone cold silence. Not a single official post. No promo. No excitement. Nothing. Like it never happened. Meanwhile, LPGA execs were popping champagne over engagement numbers, international reach, and a tidal wave of social media buzz. Caitlin Clark helped their league go viral without even being part of it. And they embraced her like she'd been with them for years. It's not hard to see the contrast. Let's rewind. The LPGA knew exactly what they were doing. They didn't just throw Caitlin into the mix randomly. They paired her with Nelly Korda, the top golfer in the women's game, and put that duo on display like a once-in-a-lifetime ticket. And it paid off. Footage of Caitlin joking with fans, signing autographs, taking swings on the green. It spread like wildfire. People who'd never watched a golf event in their lives suddenly had opinions. Golf Twitter lit up. Sports media picked it up. It was a kind of moment leagues dream of. Crossover magic, new audiences, social virality, mainstream media coverage, all from one athlete stepping outside her usual lane. And here's the kicker. It wasn't even about her performance. No one cared whether she hit birdies or bogeys. It was about presence. She brought an energy that made golf cool for a younger crowd, and the LPGA recognized that instantly. They promoted her like a superstar. Meanwhile, the WNBA, the league she actually plays for, the one that's currently building its entire media strategy around a new era of talent, said nothing. The optics? Not great. Now, let's be clear. Caitlin Clark didn't do anything wrong. She didn't ditch a game. She didn't skip training camp. She wasn't out partying. She went to a charity golf event to support women's sports and boosted an entire league in the process. And what did the WNBA do? They sent her an official warning. It's the kind of decision that doesn't just feel tone-deaf. It feels personal. Because it's not just about the golf. It's about how certain athletes get handled when they rise a little too fast, when they grab a little too much attention, or when they refuse to play quiet. The LPGA embraced her star power. The WNBA, they seemed threatened by it. The whole thing has sparked debate across sports media. Why wouldn't the WNBA want to capitalize on their player going viral? Why wouldn't they repost the videos? Share the highlights? At least acknowledge that their biggest draw just helped lift women's sports to a new audience? Instead, it was all crickets and a warning. The league's silence spoke volumes. And fans noticed. Comment sections filled up. Analysts weighed in. People started pointing out the obvious, that the LPGA took a proactive, growth-minded approach, while the WNBA chose caution. Caution. In the middle of a cultural moment they could have owned. This is where things get uncomfortable. Because when it comes to marketing women's sports, leagues talk a lot about growth, about visibility, about fighting for a bigger spotlight. But when they have that spotlight, when someone like Caitlin Clark gives it to them, what do? Apparently, they back away. And the numbers don't lie. The LPGA saw a spike in ticket sales. Merch flew. Engagement went through the roof. The crossover moment didn't just boost golf. It boosted women's sports as a whole. And Caitlin Clark was the reason. So, why wouldn't her own league jump on that? The answer says a lot about culture. The LPGA made a bet. They centered their event around a non-golfer because they understood where the attention was. They understood how to move with the moment, not against it. And it worked. The WNBA, on the other hand, seemed more concerned with control, with protocol, with preserving some internal playbook that clearly isn't built for modern, internet-fueled attention. The result? They missed the moment. It's not the first time this has happened, either. There's been an ongoing tension around how Caitlin Clark is marketed, how much attention she receives, and how the league seems to walk on eggshells when it comes to promoting her. But here's the reality. Whether the WNBA is ready or not, she is the moment. She's drawing crowds, breaking viewership records, selling out arenas, and going viral without even trying. That's not a distraction. That's an opportunity. And the LPGA understood that before she even picked up a golf club. The WNBA's reluctance isn't just a mischance. It's a red flag. Because when leagues don't embrace their biggest stars, when they don't promote them at their peak, when they actively sideline their momentum, it doesn't just hurt the athlete. It stunts the sport. People want personalities. They want stories. They want to feel something. Caitlin Clark brings that. The LPGA saw it and ran with it. The WNBA saw it and issued a warning. At some point, we have to ask, what message does that send? To young players watching from home. To new fans dipping into women's sports. To the media looking for a narrative. To Caitlin herself. And more importantly, what does it cost? Because while the LPGA is out here gaining followers, boosting merch sales, and turning clips into viral currency, the WNBA just handed over an entire news cycle to another league and made themselves look out of touch in the process. It's hard to overstate how rare these moments are. When an athlete cuts through the noise, pulls people in, and elevates not just themselves but everyone around them, that's lightning in a bottle. And instead of holding on to it, the WNBA let it slip. No promo, no celebration, just a warning. It's baffling. This isn't about loyalty. Caitlin didn't betray the league. She expanded its footprint. She brought new eyes to women's sports. She added value. She didn't need to, but she did. And the reward was silence. When the story broke that she'd been issued an official warning, it felt like the final punctuation mark on a frustrating trend. A league that doesn't seem to know what to do with a breakout star who's changing the rules. And while the LPGA glowed under the spotlight, the WNBA ducked behind the curtain. One leaned into evolution. The other clung to tradition. In the end, the real takeaway is simple. How leagues treat their stars matters. It shapes perception. It affects growth. It determines who sticks around and who tunes out. The LPGA just gave a masterclass in how to handle a star athlete. The WNBA gave a masterclass in how to waste one. So what do you think? Was the WNBA out of line for staying silent? Should Caitlin Clark have been warned at all? Or did the LPGA just show everyone how it should be done? Let's talk about it. Drop a comment. Hit that like button. And if you want more breakdowns of the wildest meltdowns and PR flops in pop culture and sports, go ahead and subscribe. We've got plenty more chaos to cover. Let's dig deeper into why this entire situation is such a mess. because it goes beyond Caitlin Clark swinging a golf club. What we're really looking at here is a spotlight moment in women's sports, and the way two major leagues handled it couldn't be more different. The LPGA didn't hesitate. They looked at Caitlin Clark, the most hyped rookie in WNBA history, and saw what she represented: crossover appeal, Gen Z relevance, media magnetism, and the rare ability to make casual fans care. They didn't ask, is she a golfer? They asked, how fast can we get a camera on her? That's the move. That's how you grow. You meet the moment. Caitlin could have just quietly teed off and gone home. Instead, she lit up the course. Not because she was dropping under par rounds, but because people wanted to see her. They wanted to see how she interacted, what she wore, how she joked with Nelly Corda, what she said to fans. It was authentic, relaxed, fun, exactly the kind of visibility women's sports has been fighting to achieve. And this wasn't just another celebrity appearance. It wasn't a quick cameo. This was planned, packaged, and promoted right. The LPGA made her a headliner. They paired her with their biggest name for maximum exposure. They rolled out graphics, trailers, and behind-the-scenes content. It was marketing genius. Now compare that to the WNBA, the league that should be front row cheering this on, sitting quietly like a jealous sibling in the corner. Not even a repost. Not even a great to see our players supporting women's sports. Just radio silence, followed by a slap on the wrist. It's almost impressive how badly they missed the mark. And let's not pretend this isn't about control. The WNBA has been grappling with how to handle Caitlin Clark since before she even stepped on the court. There's a constant tension around her fame, around how much attention she's getting, and around how much space she's allowed to take up. Some players have made passive-aggressive comments. Analysts have danced around the subject. The league has been slow to promote her compared to how quickly she's been embraced by the public. And now this. A warning. A message, loud and clear. Stay in your lane. But what lane is that exactly? Caitlin Clark is the reason millions of people tuned into college women's basketball for the first time. She's breaking attendance records, moving merch, and drawing mainstream headlines, something the WNBA desperately needs. You'd think they'd want more of that. Instead, it's like they don't know how to handle it. What the LPGA did was smart. They didn't try to tame her fame. They amplified it. They saw the wave coming and jumped on the surfboard. And let's be real, the results speak for themselves. The event went viral. Fans showed up. Media outlets picked up the story. The LPGA reached audiences they've never touched before. One moment with Caitlin brought them closer to the cultural center of sports than they've been in years. They walked away from that event with more fans, more engagement, more relevance. Meanwhile, the WNBA's takeaway was, let's warn her not to do that again. It's maddening. This should have been a moment of solidarity. One women's sports league lifting another. A WNBA star boosting the LPGA, and both leagues getting stronger from the exposure. That's the kind of synergy sports executives dream about. But nope. Instead, the WNBA treated it like a liability. You have to wonder what the thinking is here. Is it about optics? Is it about internal rules? Is it about some outdated sense of gatekeeping? Because from the outside, it just looks petty. This is the problem. When leagues get stuck in traditionalist thinking, when they see attention as a threat instead of a resource, when they think control is more important than connection. The LPGA saw the future. The WNBA saw a protocol violation. It's not hard to figure out who's coming out on top. And let's talk about what this kind of exposure means. Caitlin Clark didn't just promote herself. She promoted women's sports as a whole. She brought in casual viewers. She got people talking about a golf event like it was a playoff game. That kind of cultural crossover is gold. And here's the truth. Women's sports need these moments. They need breakout stars. They need players who transcend the game and pull in new demographics. That's not a side effect. That's the strategy. The LPGA got it. The WNBA didn't. There's a reason this hit a nerve with fans. People want to support leagues that support their players. They want to feel like the energy they're putting into someone like Caitlin Clark is being matched by the league around her. But when the league's biggest star gets punished for growing the game, that energy disappears fast. No one wants to see the main character and the story gets sidelined by her own league. And here's the irony. If Caitlin Clark had done the exact same thing with an NBA crossover event, say, hanging with Steph Curry at a charity shootout, would the WNBA have said a word? Probably not, because they'd see the headlines and the photo ops and the ratings potential. But because it was golf, because it was another women's league, they saw it as competition instead of collaboration. That's the old playbook, and it's not working anymore. You can't grow a sport by putting your stars in a box. You grow it by letting them shine everywhere. You don't scold them for expanding the brand. You thank them. That's what the LPGA did. They treated Caitlin like an ally, not a threat, and their league is stronger for it. The warning from the WNBA is not just a misstep, it's a red flag. It shows how disconnected leadership can be from the cultural moment. It shows a lack of vision, and it sends a wrong message to fans, players, and the broader public. Instead of riding the wave, they tried to pull the plug. And while the LPGA was going viral, the WNBA was stuck doing damage control over something that should have been a win for everyone. It's frustrating because this didn't have to be a controversy. It could have been a celebration. It could have been a turning point. Instead, it became a case study in how not to handle a star. So here we are, one league leaning forward, one pulling back, one embracing the spotlight, one hiding from it. And the lesson? Clear as day. Women's sports will grow when leagues stop fearing their stars and start following them. When they realize that attention isn't something to manage, it's something to maximize. When they stop playing small and start thinking big. Caitlin Clark just gave the LPGA a masterclass in what star power can do. The WNBA should have been taking notes. Instead, they wrote her up just when you think the story couldn't get more absurd. Let's talk about the bigger problem here. The WNBA's ongoing identity crisis when it comes to marketing its own stars. Caitlin Clark didn't just walk into the league with hype. She walked in with history. She brought record-breaking college viewership numbers. She brought in fans who had never even glanced at women's basketball before. She had little girls wearing her jersey before it was even officially released. You don't get that kind of gravitational pull every day. And yet, from the moment she stepped into the WNBA, it's been complicated. You'd think the league would be rolling out the red carpet, elevating her on every promo, giving her the full superstar treatment. Instead, it's been like watching someone try to tiptoe through a PR minefield. Every move around Caitlin has been cautious, almost tense, like the league isn't sure if they should lean into momentum or back away slowly. This latest incident just confirmed what everyone's been suspecting. They're choosing the latter. You have a generational star who willingly chose to spotlight another women's league, showing up, being gracious, having fun, and expanding the audience for all women's sports. And the response is a bureaucratic slap on the wrist? How do you justify that? The WNBA had a choice. They could have taken that moment and owned it, retweeted the clips, showed support, celebrated one of their own making waves. Instead, they treated it like a PR liability, like Caitlin doing too much was somehow a bad thing. And that's the catch, isn't it? Because what this really reveals is a league still figuring out how to handle superstardom in the digital age. Let's not pretend the LPGA is perfect or even massively mainstream, but they saw a moment and they took it. No hesitation. They wanted Caitlin's fan base. They welcomed the crossover attention. They weren't afraid to say, yeah, we're putting this basketball star front and center. They understood that in 2025, star power is a strategy. And here's the wild part. It worked instantly, not months down the line, not after a year of planning. One single appearance turned into viral headlines, sold-out merch, new fans, international media coverage, the kind of buzz that usually takes years to build. And the WNBA let that slip through their fingers. They didn't just miss a marketing opportunity. They sent a message to every other player, every aspiring athlete, every potential partner or sponsor. If you shine too bright outside of our house, we're not backing you up. Think about what that does to the culture of a league. It discourages players from taking initiative. It discourages creativity. It punishes charisma. It tells the world, we want attention, but only the kind we can script and control. Meanwhile, Leagues like the LPGA are out here collaborating with players to build events around their personalities. That's the difference. And the irony is, this is the kind of momentum the WNBA has begged for. For years, the conversation around the league has been about visibility. We need more media coverage. We need to grow the fan base. We need cultural relevance. Caitlin gave them all of that, and they responded with a warning. It's giving self-sabotage, and fans see through it. The internet is not subtle. The contrast between how the LPGA promoted Caitlin and how the WNBA ghosted her during that same moment didn't just go unnoticed. It became the story. Articles, opinion pieces, podcasts. It was everywhere. And let's be honest, this wasn't about golf. It was about control. It was about discomfort. The discomfort of having a player who is too famous, too fast, who is pulling attention at a scale the league isn't used to, and instead of rising with it, they're resisting it. But here's the thing. You can't suppress that kind of momentum. You either ride it or you get run over by it. There's a reason fans are frustrated. There's a reason this is a trending topic. Because people care. They want to see women's sports win. They want to see leagues supporting their athletes. They want to feel like the institutions behind these players actually believe in them. And when that doesn't happen, it shows. Caitlin Clark just did more for cross-league exposure in one weekend than some marketing departments do in a full fiscal year. And she did it organically. No massive campaign, no million-dollar rollout. Just her presence, her likability, and the fact that people want to watch her. The LPGA saw that and said, let's make her the face of this event. The WNBA saw it and said, let's issue a memo. It's exhausting. The leagues that thrive in this era are the ones that understand the currency of personality, the ones that embrace the chaos of virality, the ones that see a viral clip not as a distraction but as an asset. If the WNBA had reposted one video, shared one clip, leaned into the moment even slightly, they would have benefited. They would have hit the feeds of non-basketball fans. They would have looked supportive, smart, in the loop, but instead, they looked rigid and outdated. And the longer they hesitate, the more the gap grows. Because guess what? Other leagues are watching. Brands are watching. They're seeing who embraces a moment and who lets it pass by. The LPGA just showed them how it's done. They took someone else's player and turned her into a walking endorsement for their entire sport. And they didn't even have to ask for it. She just showed up. That kind of influence is rare. You don't punish it, you cultivate it. So now the ball's back in the WNBA's court. They've made their move. They drew their line. And fans are paying attention to what happens next. Will they course correct? Will they figure out how to support their most marketable player without alienating others? Will they finally step into the spotlight instead of hiding behind policy? Or will they keep treating star power like a threat? That's the real question here. Because Caitlin Clark isn't going anywhere. And neither are the millions of fans she brings with her. The leagues that figure out how to work with her, those are the leagues that will grow. And the ones that try to tame her, they'll be left behind. Let us know what you think. Did the WNBA blow a golden opportunity here? Was the warning justifiable or just petty? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this with someone who's been following the drama, and make sure you're subscribed. Because if this is how sports leagues are moving in 2025, you already know the next meltdown is just around the corner.